April 3rd, 1968, Memphis, Tennessee, the sanitation workers' strike. Concern for the sanitation workers, their safety, indeed their very lives, and for all people living in poverty. Unafraid for himself, even though he felt death closing in all around him. Very tired that night, weak and worn from the demands upon him, the constant stress and threats, yet certain of God holding his hand, leading him on, helping him stand in the midst of the multiple storms furiously whirling throughout this country. Dr. King, not planning to attend the meeting that night, but summoned to come and just say something to the people, delivered one of his finest speeches, his very last. I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now because I've been to the mountaintop and I don't mind. Like anyone else, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up the mountain, and I've looked over and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. The applause was thunderous. The energy and determination of the crowd unsurpassed. Justice just a little closer than it had been the day before. Of course, you know, within hours the announcement rang out around the world. The dreamer, the leader for peace, firmly standing against violence, firmly committed to nonviolence, had been violently cut down by an individual acting on behalf of a sick society. The man who had the dream, who from the mountaintop saw the bright possibilities for the future, was dead. Soon Ralph Abernathy said, "You can kill the dreamer, but you cannot kill the dream." But we know there are many forces threatening and thwarting the dream then and now. Even if some of us have been to the mountaintop, seeing what is possible, glimpsing the revelation of real truth seen broadly and deeply, so that justice can come rolling down in our own day, bringing genuine peace, reconciling all the world into God's self and God's purposes for the good creation, we know we're not there yet. Dreams remain dreams. Clear visions and possibilities lay dormant, becoming reality only through deeply committed effort, tough determination, and staying the course for the long haul, not through complacent living and wishful thinking. God does promise justice, but the road to justice in our world is long, requiring us to partner with divine love in the world until justice is no longer a dream, but becomes actual reality. Whether or not we see the payoff for our efforts, whether or not we ourselves get to the promised land, whether or not it is someone after us who reaps the benefits of our work, bringing the dream into actual reality, exposing genuine truth that allows justice to roll down like mighty waters, authentic peace like an ever-flowing stream, it really doesn't matter now. We know what is possible. We know what we must do. What does matter is that we respond to the call of living the legacy Dr. King leaves to each one of us, to see things for what they really are, to step into the places God is calling us to be what we ought to be, to do what we ought to do, to help others do the same. Moses is gone. The Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. is gone. Many other leaders are gone. Many leaders who set the course for Fort Street are gone. People who established this congregation as a spiritual force in Detroit. People who took the risk of making 4th Street an integrated congregation in the midst of a racially torn city, long, long before there were multicultural church conferences, long before diversity was a buzzword throughout the church or anywhere else, years before interracial, intercultural congregations were the talk of all the denominations around. These leaders may have caught a glimpse of what could be, but they are gone. The world has changed. Detroit has changed. The problems of injustice are still alive and strong. Now, where are those Joshuas? Those leaders who will define and build the 21st century 4th Street. Those people who will reinvent the new Detroit. Those faith communities who will transform the church and other communities of faith into relevance for the 21st century world, reconciling all of the world to divine love and purpose. Frequently, Dr. King said, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. On April 4th, 2008, the 40th anniversary of the assassination of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr., then Senator Barack Obama, using these words frequently spoke by the dreamer, expanded on the thought. Dr. King once said that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. It bends toward justice, Barack Obama said, but here is the thing. It does not bend on its own. It bends because each of us in our own ways put our hand on that arc, and we bend it in the direction of justice. Sometimes the question can loom large, where do we go from here? But the legacy left to us is rather clear. Put our hand to the arc of the moral universe, bend it just as far as we possibly can, a little closer towards justice. I don't know if we ourselves will reach this justice. It may take a very, very long time and be realized by the ones coming along behind us. But what we can know is that we are called to continue paving the way, bending that arc, and the God of truth and justice and peace does take our hand, walking with us, leading us on toward the bright new day of justice, helping us stand through the storms of life which most assuredly will come if we truly are seeing things for what they really are, stepping into the places to where God is calling us to be, being what we ought to be, doing what we ought to do, and helping others do the same. Because none of us can be what we ought to be until each one of us is what we ought to be. Thanks be to God. Amen.